Okay, 20-minute race coming up then for the Moobob Caterham Academy Championship. We saw them in two groups over the last few years, but just the one this year. Grid set by the result of yesterday's race, so it is Matt Fox in pole position, fresh from his first ever motor racing victory yesterday, alongside the championship leader, Max Richardson, who won the first event of the year, the sprint at Kerborough, and he won at Brands Hatch as well. Row 2, Nick Tomadakis and Richard Davies, the Welshman, hoping for a win on home soil this weekend. Row 3, Kyle Townend, and the winner at Thruxton last time out, George Hawkins. Fourth row, Steve Vischer and Seb Thole. Repaired some damage in qualifying yesterday to the front end of his car to get back out for the race. And the top 10, Ben Oliver and Ollie Smith complete the top 10 on the grid. Then we've got row 6, number 72, Christian Bond, and number 4, Richard Northridge. Row 7, Sam Eminson, who recovered from a spin late on in yesterday's race, so that's alongside Luke Wilson. Georgina Tuffin, we've just heard from, is on row 8 alongside Ollie Walsh, also had a spin early on yesterday in race 1. Row 9, Rob Hicks, number 27, and 10, James French. 10th row, 86, Richard Watson, and 14, Andrew Johnston, the boss of championship sponsor Moobob Recruitment. On row 11, we've got 15 of Shane Forster, and number 70, Joe Oliver, brother of Ben in number 80. 12th row, 12, John Bond, and 37, Andrew Symington. Row 13, 88, Mark Hensler, and 22, Michael Smith. On row 14, we have 67, Ross Pamphilon, and 8, Jason Spencer. Penultimate row is 23, Chris Longley, alongside 11, Stuart Beggs, and 33, Martin Smith will complete the grid.
So, welcome to race 2. Landed up on grid slot 5 again, because that was the finishing position of the last race. I will do a little bit more voiceover in this race, because I get a little bit of time in the middle of the race without the frantic goings on. So I was starting with George just to the side of me, who after our race 1 battle I really wanted to see a couple of cars get between me and him, so that was kind of my objectives for the start. My lesson learned from the start last time was although I got a good run on Rich on the inside of turn 1, I ended up boxed out for turn 2, so I really wanted to be on the inside of the track for turn 2 to try and keep any places that I could make it to turn 1.
Here, green flag at the back of the grid to confirm that all is clear and ready to go. Martin Smith at the 33, the last driver to line up. Richardson, the championship leader on the outside, the front row alongside yesterday's winner, Matt Fox, as we get underway. Here we go. Down towards the left-hander at target for the first time. Everybody is away cleanly. Round target, the two front row men side by side. Richardson will have the inside line for the right-hander at the banking, and he has taken the lead this time. It's Richard Davies in third place. That's Kyle Townend, second of the yellow cars, trying to dive down the inside floors on the podium at the beginning of the season with a second place at Brands Hatch.
Side by side for the lead round Church. Again, that's not going to work, but it does work out for Fox this time, so he was determined. I thought with the attitude of Richardson's car that he really did want to pull away into a lead. Maybe that's what he went with a plan, but Fox quickly put that one to bed.
Kyle Townend's had a super start. He's up into potentially third place here as they go into Rocket. Richardson up the inside though, side by side as they head through the complex. Richardson round the outside of Fox, and he's got the lead. Good driving by Max Richardson, the man from London, proving that he's the pick of the crop in the academy so far this season. He's got the lead away there round the outside line, and here comes Richard Davies up alongside Kyle Townend. Now who's that trying to make it 3 wide, coming out of Peel as they head down the hill? I couldn't quite make it out there. Might have been Stephen Vischer, if so. He's had a good start from the 4th row of the grid. We'll pick them up as they come towards us. It is Richardson who leads the way from Fox in second place. Davies is third. It's Townend in 4th. And who's that up there in P5? Couldn't quite identify. That car, big lock up there, and nearly a collision. That was the number 15 car of Shane Forster. Didn't quite get it stopped. We've had a tangle at the back of the field as well. A couple of cars have tangled together. They head into the bus stop completely.
They've separated though, so it looks like we're all going to get back up and running. They'll have lost all the positions. They'll have work to do to try and recover those positions and try and work out who they are by seeing who's dropped down the timing order. But it is Richardson and...
Alright, so really happy with that first lap. Obviously, now had a good run at the front 2. I knew I was under threat coming onto this back straight from Rich behind, and Rich and I, we had a discussion to try and learn some lessons from race 1 and just try to make it easy for each other into Rocket. That would mean, in theory, we could swap places every lap. So you can see here, I actually waved him past. I don't lose any speed by letting him through there, drop in nicely, and then we carry on. Oh wait, Seb didn't get the memo that we were going to be kind of working together and minimising losses. Obviously that was a great move from Seb, and I'm definitely not criticising it. It's just that kind of killed my plan. I think Richard and I, we could have towed each other along nicely, and I think we could have really threatened the front two. But now I find myself back in 5th. The good news here though is there's a red car behind me and not a bright yellow one, so at least I don't have George breathing down my neck again.
Now giving chase in the midfield. So Richardson continues to set the pace ahead of Matt Fox as they head through the hairpin this time. Fox is back in front there. That's away from the lead battle. You see, you can't take your collision there. That was number 13 of Stephen Fisher going into the back of somebody. Couldn't quite make out who he was. It might have been Ollie Smith that he clipped there, the 89. That's Dan Richard.
It looks like he might.
He's out of it.
It's hard to tell whether he's actually got damage or whether he's just trying to figure out whether he has. But it was significant contact, and I wouldn't be surprised. It certainly gave him a shock and would have wrenched the steering wheel in his hands as well. So hopefully he's okay. But yeah, he just locked up and just made contact with the car in front. So sad end to his race. And he will either pull to the pits or figure out whether he can get everything pointed in the right direction again as they head out and round. Though Fox did come across that line half a second ahead of Richardson. So Richardson's definitely not going to have its own way. It is going to go a battle. They have got a second gap over Davies, but as long as that battle settles down in that second place, I think the tow will draw them back in. But it's a now or never kind of thing. In fact, Davies is clear, isn't he, now of Vallejo with behind him.
Seconds down end on the inside behind them is Nick Tomadakis. Then it's Hawkins. There's Ollie Smith. That bit of bodywork flapping where he was collected by the locked up number 13 of Stephen Fisher. And I think he has pulled off Stephen Fisher. He didn't complete that lap, so he may have pulled off on the straight going down towards the bus stop there. He may not even have made it as far as the pits because he's not showing as having pitted on the timing screen. As we watch Nick Tomadakis, the number 17 machine, chased by Hawkins. That's the battle for 6th position at the moment. So they come over the top. There's Ollie Smith. You recognise him by the flapping rear wing on his car for that contact earlier on. It's Matt Fox who leads the way.
As well, look at that. He's got well over half a second now over the top of Richardson. So, and those gaps are sort of levelling out at the front. We saw that a bit yesterday. The battle is with Townend again, as it was yesterday as well. There comes that battle with the flapping rear wheel arch. Now, will that depart his car and will it land in a sensible place? Hopefully, we've blown it on at sort of pace of safety anyway. We watch the rest of this field, and there's Johnson there in the Bob car. His battle deep in the field. Someone else off wide there, aren't they?
That was Rob Hicks, number 27. Going out wide onto the grass as the Bob car moved through Andrew Johnston. Had a spin in yesterday's race, unfortunately. Is that Stephen Fisher I spotted there that has got going again? Quite possibly, yes. He's not sure there's something going to the pits, but he's lost a lap, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there.
Yeah, maybe he just got.
So this corner here, just a bit of voiceover at this point, just because I've been looking at struggling to get on the power. This was by far my Achilles heel in this race. I'm not sure what was going on. In testing, it was just a simple lift and then hard on the gas. I don't know if it's just the wind changing around subtly. But yeah, I was really struggling with that corner, which was really robbing me of progress. But you can see, I managed to build a bit of a gap to Seb behind now, so I can really focus on trying to cling on to Rich's toe and rejoin that fight for the podium positions. And that really is the theme for the middle part of the race. The gap between Rich and I ebbs and flows a little bit, but yeah, towards the end things get spicy again.
Yeah, he hasn't got the bit flapping anymore, so there the wing's gone. He's just ahead of the number 80 car of Ben Oliver there. They've got number 4 Richard Northridge, the yellow car.
Making his way through this field. I don't think he had a great qualification, so he ended up at 13. So actually, yeah, he's there or thereabouts, but he's fighting in that midfield battle nicely today.
Smith at the head of this group. This is for 9th position, I think. No, 8th position, sorry. He's got ahead of Ben Oliver now. There's Northridge, the yellow car. Then number 21 to Luke Wilson next in the order. The red car with the yellow cage. Some of the back markers go through Andrew Johnson. there, the number 14, 15, 86 side by side. That's Shane Forster and Richard Watson. Keeps recovering there after running wide onto the grass earlier on.
Bit of bodywork smoke there, that tyre rub or something, so a little bit of contact between some of those drivers in that midfield battle, and yeah, tyre rubs don't generally cause a problem unless they're severe and unrelenting. They tend to sort of solve themselves by the wheels picking off. Here is that battle. It's battles everywhere you look, and remember these guys are all a little bit of oversteer, got pinched down, and
again.
yeah, and again, so you can see those cars were sort of attracted to each other like magnets, weren't they? But remember, these drivers have not raced before this season. This is the first season and they're only their fourth race, so really are still learning those roads. Wide there for is that Northridge? Yep. So
the contact with Luke Wilson and Ben Oliver, I think Ben Oliver's escaped that.
So head up then into Rocket again. Adventures every single corner they're getting to at the moment. What they're going to do is doing more contact
again,
in that braking zone. Yep.
Get off, says Ben Oliver. As the leaders head through, they're a little more spaced out now. The leaders are Fox leading by 1.5 seconds over Richardson, and Davies in third position.
I'm not sure who that is, but he's back on the track and headed forwards.
I think that was Ben Oliver actually, so maybe there's been some more pushing and shoving going on in that. But just outside the top 10 at the moment. Lock up there, Andrew Johnston chasing a couple of cars. I think the 86 went out wide there, Richard Watson. There's the top 10 group. There's Tomadakis, the next group headed by Northridge. Ollie Smith trying to get down the outside.
I've got about this until I was coming to edit this this voiceover back, but we got a bit of rain. We sort of just flicked the wipers on. I mean, it was a really, a nothing amount of rain. It didn't appreciably impact the grip on the track, but it was a new emotion for me in the cockpit. I didn't know if it was going to settle in or to blow over. So what my gut was telling me was just don't try to second guess the grip. Just keep hammering it. Because if I started backing off, you kind of then don't know where you stand. You end up driving like within the limit too much. So I was trying to convince myself to really stay on the limit and not assume there was a lack of grip, because then you just end up making your envelope a little bit narrower. That was kind of my thought process going into it. As it happens, other than flicking the wipers on and off a couple of times on the straight out of the hairpin, it didn't really impact the race.
All the people that make these weekends happen on behalf of the drivers, we appreciate it.
Saw George Hawkins trying to make a move on Sebastian Follet there for what is 5th position, and he's got through past the Iceman, as it says on the upper plate of the Frenchman's car. They steer by Nick Tomadakis trying to recover from that grassy moment earlier on. We're only just over halfway through this second race of the weekend for the Move On Caterham Academy Championship, and still Matt Fox who sets the pace. The leaders fairly well strung out now. The main focus of the leading runners is this fight for P5. It's Seb Foley trying to take the place back again. They're into the hairpin. Foley comes to the inside, but he can't get the line away.
See how that corner sort of nips in at you just as you think the corner's over. It just doesn't. Your car drifts to the curb and you have to turn a little bit more. It's not quite a 180 degrees hairpin. It's quite a wide corner with quite a drop off as you head through the apex. So the car naturally just drifts to the edge of the track and sort of catches you out. Even though every single time the brake is retrained that it doesn't have quite the room as it needs. But they're heading down here into the final corner. Then battles continue to battle in this 20th odd position. Number 86 there in 16th. That's Watson. He's lost the rear of the car, just about gets it all back under control. These dedicated Academy tyres, they don't really give very much grip at all. It's to teach car control in exactly the way that we saw there. He's got to gather that all up nicely. They're using every single last bit. Another thing you might spot in the Academy car compared to any of the other rounds is that how floppy, we call them. They're loose at the rear end because they don't have a rear anti-roll bar. They lean over. Again, it teaches the drivers how does the weight control and the dynamism of the rear of the car, how to get that under control before we then give them all the tools that they can start using for the road sport options.
Just over 8 minutes of this race to go. Luke Wilson battling away again. Mentioning our marshal, let's say a quick hello to Steve Tarrant, who says had many happy memories marshalling at this track, even with the 7-hour journey from Dorset to get there. Very dedicated, Steve. Quick hello to Caitlin Penny as well, top sim racing commentator who's looking on today. As Luke Wilson comes under fire 72. That's Christian Bond, started on the 6th row of the grid. Fastest lap of the race with our race leader Matt Fox, who's just over a second clear. So Max Richardson has taken a few tenths out of Matt's lead. Still Davies in third ahead of Kyle Townend, and Ollie Smith having a look at the inside on the back of Richard Northridge. That's for 8th position. This is the fight for 10th, just behind them between Christian Bond and Sam Edmondson in there as well. And this multi-car fight behind. 27 of Hicks coming under fire, 15 of Shane Forster as well. He's had a lively race.
They're trying everything. They're trying, again, you can see that learning happening. They're racing close, racing fair, and they're trying to work out, how do I get in front of the car in front? It's not always easy. Some tracks like Thruxton, you can just get by via the toe, but at Anglesey, they're having to learn, how do you actually overtake on track? Use that toe to your advantage. Thruxton, they're part of this battle in his move-up car and fighting hard to see whether he can move any more positions upwards. Like you say, it's all spread out a little bit for the lead group. We'll keep an eye on those gaps, but we will follow these battles.
Yes, it's tricky to know where to look, so a big thanks to all our camera crews as well for doing their best.
So at about this point I was very much in my happy place. I had seen that George was now behind. George had made a great comeback to get through Nick and Seb, but he was still a fair distance off. I think there was like 6 minutes left, and after the gap between myself and Rich opening up to its biggest a couple of laps ago, suddenly I noticed Rich getting bigger and bigger in front, and I started to smell a podium at this point. With no pressure behind, I could just concentrate on nailing the laps. My lap times still weren't close to what I was doing in like testing and stuff, so it was definitely, I was definitely struggling. Felt like I was fighting the car, but now that I was getting into Rich's toe, that gap really does start coming down now in the next couple of minutes.
Yes, the 47 car goes through. Christian Bond just behind them, the 72 car, so he's lost a couple of spots over the last lap or so.
Been watching it back in front, wondering whether he does better just to sit and pick up the pieces. Here comes our race leader at the moment and race winner from yesterday, the 99. Started from pole. Can he make this the perfect race weekend? He'll certainly want to come back to Anglesey pretty quickly if he can. But Richardson was there or thereabouts, and if you remember in yesterday's race, Richardson was closing in as Fox got a little bit jittery towards the end. Max Richardson was closing. Can he do it? He's got 5 minutes. He's certainly got the pace. You can see his head bobbing up and down. He's really encouraging that car forward as he goes. Davis drifting a little bit away from that, as has Townend. Townend, I think, will want to kind of recover some of those points that he's losing in the middle part of this season, so he's going to have a great end to his season. But Matt Fox, Richardson is getting closer, isn't it? It's under a second now, and in fact I think visibly that's even closer, and the toe will start getting exponentially more powerful the closer he gets. Can he do anything about this in the last 4 minutes of this race?
Just thinking, with the double-header format rarely used by Academy, and it's been two groups in the last few years having a race apiece on race weekends. When was the last time, if at all, an Academy driver won 2 races in a weekend?
Yeah, we'd have to work that one out. It depends if you take the Academy, the autumn trophy that they have at the end of the season. But as part of an actual championship race, we'd have to look through the record books to find that one. A little bit of a wonky exhaust pipe there, isn't there? And the leading car of this
That's
group.
Rob Hicks, 27. He's been off on the grass a couple of times, so kind of caught the exhaust, and it's dragging alongside the car, the side exit exhaust pipe. As I mentioned earlier this season in one of our races, it's worth remembering those exhaust pipes are external when you climb out of a Caterham, as I forgot once when passengering in one. Nice hole burned in my trouser.
It's it's one of the things you learn very quickly as a driver when you're mechanicking your car or when you're getting in and out. Yep, you learn not to put your shins up against a nice hot exhaust. It's something you don't think quickly. And exhaust is holding on nicely. Whether he's lost a little bit of performance because of it's unsure. Certainly looks to be a little bit wonky, doesn't it, at the end there? And the rest of this battle continuing on. I think that would have just been a little bit of a side wheel contact that's caused that to dislodge itself slightly. But he's still going on. I can't hear any strange noises from cars, so it's not lost any of its padding or wadding that it has silencing in there. Another 10th off from the race lead though, only 8/10 of a second now, so gap coming down again, but only 3 minutes to go in this race, the second of the 2 Caterham Academy races we've been treated to this weekend. A great show they're all putting on.
Ollie Smith still battling on ahead of Northridge in the number 47
great battle.
place. So 0.8 of a second is now the lead gap. He's gaining Max Richardson on Matt Fox at about 1/10 of a second. And up there's Luke Wilson trying to dive up the inside again into Rocket. I don't think it's worked this time, or has it? I think, in fact, he may be ahead there of
This lap that we're coming up towards the end of, you can see my delta in the bottom right, almost half a second up on my previous best. This does work out to be my fastest lap of the race, which was just shy of Matt Fox's overall fastest lap of the race, which says a lot about Matt's pace this weekend. You know, I did this with a pretty perfect tour, and Matt was out front most of the race, so he basically got a faster lap than this by, I think, 10.2 with clean air in front of him, which says a lot about Matt's speed, and I think that the two of us were the only two in the 46s during this race. So it shows that, you know, the pace kind of was there, but I did need a bit of a leg up from the tour. So here we go, Rich right in front, let's get that podium.
lap for Matt Fox, race leader 1:46.792, and he's pulled away by a full second on that last lap from Max Richardson, so that could be critical.
Richardson was clearly pushing as hard as he could to try and gain that gap back and to catch up Fox, but it cost himself more than he gained, and now finds himself at 4.7. I think that might have sealed the win and the perfect race weekend for Fox.
Richard Davies still up there upholding Welsh honour in third place. He's desperate for a podium here this weekend.
Yeah, good to see him up there in that podium. He was dabbling around the sort of fourth, fifth place. Another dive there. Is that Townend looking to see if he can depose?
Fifth gear. That was it. That was my moment. I was on the inside of Rich, ready for this corner, and I went from second to fifth. That was really annoying. Fair play to Rich. He defended really well through the rocket section. Didn't give me an easy overtake, and so I had to try and make it work. Peel. And now suddenly there's this bloody yellow dot in my mirror. It's suddenly getting very big again. This isn't going to be a clean one to the finish.
And so this is the penultimate lap. They'll be coming on to their last lap.
This is the main battle now for third place. Williams Motorsports backed car of Richard Davies there in third position, chased by Kyle Townend, who's had a couple of podiums already this season. They were both on the podium, Davies and Townend, in the season opening sprints, I think. No, it was Matt Fox third, sorry, and Townend was a little bit further back. Townend was second at Brands Hatch. Matt Fox third in the sprints. He was a little further back at Brands. He was fourth at Thruxton. Perfect weekend here.
Yeah, come alive, and he's had the pace, and he's had the outright pace over Richardson by enough that I think, we saw Richardson lose another second in that last lap, so he's solidifying that sort of one spinner just there, having a little bit of a thing. But here is our number 99. He's going to take the momentum into the second half of this season. Can he do anything about reducing Richardson's lead even more?
Certainly looking like it at the moment. Only half a lap to go. Through Rocket may come for the final time. Max Richardson is not going to catch him. Main battle is still for third place. Richard Davies, and George Hawkins has got through in the fourth. He's got ahead of Kyle Townend in the sort of citrus yellow car. He won at Thruxton. He wants another podium here. The two leaders come over the top, then dropping down towards Siemens Corner and up towards the top price straight. This is the battle for third place. Matt Fox, it looks like he's got this one sewn up. Battle is for third.
Yeah, Matt Fox, here is the great to get pole position 2 wins. No better feeling. He will love Anglesey forevermore. Richardson comfortable, but here is that battle then. A little bit of a dive then down the inside. Evans and Hawkins is going to get the inside line. Evans left the door open for him. Has he got the momentum round the outside? He needs to hold on round the outside. Otherwise, if Hawkins can chop across, that's going to give him the advantage. It's going to do it. I think Hawkins has taken that third place, although Evans is going to try again down the inside, the extreme inside. Can he make it happen?
Matt Fox takes the win, but who is going to be third? Hawkins cuts back on Richard Davies. They're going to finish side by side. Behind them is Kyle Townend. They cross the line. I think Hawkins got it. Matt Fox has won it ahead of Max Richardson, and Hawkins got there by 1/10 of a second ahead of Richard Davies for third place. They're still at it further back in the pack. Hicks, and that's slightly damaged.
Well, what a finish. Obviously, I was jubilant with P5 in race 1, and I was distraught with P5 in race 2, which just shows the the emotions we're dealing with, I suppose. Also heartbreak for Rich as well. The local hero. He had that podium position for the whole race. And I feel bad. If I'd have not tapped him, we'd have come home P3, P4, and it'd have been fairly comfortable for both of us. But yeah, learned a lot of lessons from these two races. So qualified P5, finished both races P5, but hopefully you agree from the action there was a lot of drama to get there, and the results probably didn't do justice just how exciting the Anglesey race weekend was. So huge congratulations to Matt again. He absolutely dominated his pace, qualifying, race, just everything. He dominated. Max, Mr. Consistent on P2, and George for his second podium of the season. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Croft next, my local race. Not sure what that means. Anglesey is the track I have the most experience of. It didn't seem to equate to much in terms of raw pace. All bets are off for Croft, but I am really looking forward to it. It's a circuit that I enjoy, and I'll catch up with you all in a week or two's time. Thanks for watching.